what you're doing is quite different. Before, you were literally on Photoshop and whatnot, the app on your phone, creating a logo, finding a manufacturer, buying blanks, getting them to print it or whatever, and then selling it. Whereas now, you're literally going through the whole process. So what have you actually taken from Blessed Individual into Voir L'avenir?
I would say, obviously, my Photoshop skills have definitely developed from Blessed Individual. Even like stuff to like coding, like my own website, I'll do myself.
What? I didn't know you do that.
I do it on Shopify, but there's certain elements I code in.
Yeah.
And then like just logistics, understanding logistics, like sending out packaging products, like even like down to fabrics, like the GSM, all of that stuff I learned through Blessed Individual. I just like customer service, not even customer service, because you learn that sort of every day. It's just how you're dealing with people. And then in terms of like just customer relationship, like how it can develop. And just in terms of content, like how it gets out there, like is it the content or is it the products? Like, so I learned little stuff like that. So Blessed Individual, I feel like taught me a lot.
And I agree. Everything you're saying about the content as well, because obviously I was speaking about the Blessed Individual content that I was seeing at the time. And remember I told the man to park off that thought for me. Luckily I remember it myself. So obviously you were speaking about the Snake and Rose drop.
Yeah.
You didn't do what you needed to do in terms of content and whatnot. Why is content so important to you, and what actually happened with that drop? What was the issue?
There wasn't really an issue. Do you know what it was? I feel like because I was just so excited from like the reaction. Because for the tracksuit, cream tracksuit drop, I had so much content. I only put out like a quarter of it because it sold out so quick.
So you just stopped that basically, and
then obviously it went on to I was like, all right, cool, I have to do another drop. But where I only got a small amount of content of that at the studio I was at, I had to do an outdoor shoot. So obviously it made it a bit more difficult. So it's like I wanted to do an outdoor shoot, but I didn't in the same sense. So it was like my content styles weren't the same. I didn't have videos from that collection. I just had pictures. And obviously in terms of like, obviously I edit the pictures myself. So in terms of that, I just felt like the quality from the tracksuit to that jump was like a down.
Ooh, you feel like it was a downgrade almost?
Yeah, because the quality of the content for the cream tracksuit, I felt that was 10 out of 10. I'd say this one, it didn't match that. But then, like I said, I learned a lesson. Cool, content's everything. If it's not going up in terms of even product, it's not better than the last one, I won't put it out.
And in terms of the difference in content, did that reflect in how the clothing performed, how the sales performed? If that's
definitely. On certain products, because this the Temptation collection, certain products within that done well. There was only like maybe one that didn't. So it's like, cool. Maybe I'm either being too harsh on the metrics, or maybe I'm just comparing it to how the last drop done. So it's
depends which way you look at it.
Depends on which way you look at it.
Yeah. So obviously we're speaking about content, and I like having these conversations with you about content, because even watching your content, wow, how many times am I going to say content? Even watching your content, I can see how much effort goes into it for one, and how important you believe it is. So from your opinion, and like to the other fashion designers, fashion people listening, what goes into making good content? What is good content?
This is the thing, like, because I ask myself this every day, innit? Obviously, I think it's the product, like, because when I start going back to like what banged the most, looking at analytics, it will be like just a plain picture, like maybe like I haven't put much effort into it. It might even be a picture of myself where just out with the man them wanting to take a picture, and I'm like, this is where you have to sort of understand what works well for your brand, because obviously some brands, videos might work well, but it may not work well for you. Pictures might work well, but it may not work well for another brand. Like maybe just natural pictures might work well, but it may not work for another brand. So I feel like you just need to understand what works well for your brand. And I felt like last year, that was what I had to learn, like just understand what works well for this brand. And obviously now I have to just apply it to this new year.
I totally agree. I think that's a sick point. And in terms of understanding what sort of, in fact, you know, scratch that question, I kind of wanted to ask about, let's talk about Blessed Individual,
Cool.
I feel like it was a more like personality orientated brand in a weird way. And I think that kind of reflects in the decision you made when you started making those, I don't know what to call it.
Graphic tees.
No, not the graphic tees. Like, you know, the videos,
the series.
So the Blessed Individual series, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Having Blessed Individual, such a name, it kind of gave you scope to make content like that.
Yeah.
With what you're doing now, yeah, and like, just let's say the luxury space in general.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel quite restricted in the content you can make.
No, I can make that content as well. I have plans to make that content. It's just I'm not rushing it.
Oh, I don't mean.
Oh, and
yeah, I don't mean you have to make that exact.
No,
type
of
of content.
course. Do you mean? Do I feel like in a box to make a certain type of
Yes,
content?
exactly that.
Nah, man. I want to show my personality, creativity. Like, just because I'm doing luxury, I feel like luxury is an experience. So in terms of me being a luxury brand, it's more the experience you get from the brand. Like, obviously you'll be able to tell the quality from the pictures and stuff.
Facts.
So that will already give you a good perception. And when you get it, I just want to give you a better perception.
I'm so happy you said that, you know, because I feel like back in the day or whatever, where we look at like the history of luxury, quote unquote, and kind of what we associate it with, we associate luxury with like French aristocracy and all of that stuff, yeah. And like luxury was kind of associated with exclusivity for one, and like mystique as well. Do you know what I mean? Because the layman, the common person, wouldn't understand why this piece of clothing is so expensive. The normal person wouldn't be able to access certain types of clothes. They just wouldn't get it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I find it interesting, and I like the fact that you've kind of changed the meaning of luxury into the experience you're offering, and you're not allowing that to limit the type of content you can make, and you're putting your own personality into the content you make.
Definitely.
Yeah, I really like that. Like, for example, I was watching one of your reels today, and obviously I heard your voice in the background and that. Bro, there would have been a time where man would have heard your voice and said, that's not luxury. You know what I'm saying? But how can somebody say that?
Yeah, it's all perception.
You know what I mean?
I feel like everything's perception. That's why I say you need to understand how you brand your stuff. Because obviously, like I said, if you start branding it a certain way, customers are going to get that perception in your box. Now, you can change, but obviously it might be a bit harder. So I feel like in terms of luxury, people need to get out of the sense of this like high end, like sort of thing. Because bro, luxury is whatever you put as, and that's what I feel, innit? Someone else might say different, but from it's more the experience. How does it make you feel, innit? Like if I go buy a Goose today, I may not feel great about buying it, but if I go buy like a UK brand, they might send me a wavy box. The swing tags might be sick. I might keep them, like just stuff like luxury. That. Yeah, that's luxury, man.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's I like that. I can't lie. We got to clip that one still. I like that one. So, thank you for watching another episode of Where's My Podcast. If you ever want to take in future episodes on the go, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Whilst you're there, please leave us a 5-star review. It would really help. And also, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, WMTV_LDN, to keep up to date with the latest goings on in UK fashion. Keep it locked.